Welcome back, everybody. IGN Live from Gamescom, brought to you by Homefront: The Revolution. I'm Damon Hatfield, and Sven here is playing some Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition for us here. I'm excited to see more of this. We saw this at E3 just a month ago. It's already out on PC, but this is the version that's coming to consoles, is that right?
Yeah, this was released on PC last year at the end of June, and it's coming end of October to PS4 and Xbox One.
All right, so what are you going to show us today?
I'm going to show you a little bit of all of the changes that we've been making to the game, and I'll demonstrate also how the game now plays with the controller, and then we'll show you a little bit of cooperative play. I've got my colleague Thomas on the other side of the screen.
Thomas.
And he's going to join in, and we'll do all kinds of crazy things, showing the pen and paper nature of the game.
Yeah, that sounds great. To catch everyone up, if they're not familiar with the game, this is a old school style RPG.
Yeah,
is that a good description?
Yeah, it's a modern version of an old school style RPG, if you want.
All right.
And it allows you to do literally everything that you can imagine in an RPG environment. So let's have a look. So this is my Battle Mage Scarlet here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast a little bit of fire at that poison surface, and that's going to cause it to explode, ignite. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use a oil surface. I'm going to connect it. I'm going to cast it here. It's going to connect to the fire, and then it's going to connect to the other poison surface and cause a little bit of a cascade reaction. So next I'm going to make it rain. I'm showing you all of this just to explain the elemental interactions, and then you'll understand all the stunts I'm pulling in combat. So as I make it rain, the fire is going to be doused, and then finally what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast a little bit of electricity on top of that, and that's going to, I managed to stun myself. That was not necessarily my intention. I wanted to still do a little bit of frost, but okay, stuff happens like this. All right, so elemental interaction is obviously a very important thing in combat in Original Sin. And in addition to all of that, there's a lot of uses for elemental interaction in plenty of gameplay situations. So let me show you a couple of examples. I'm going to jump to Wolgraf here. He's one of my party. My party consists of 4 characters. They're spread over the world for presentation purposes. And so Wolgraf here, he's my rogue. And you'll notice that he's wearing 2 daggers. So dual wielding is something that is new in the Enhanced Edition, so that wasn't there in the original game. If you notice Scarlet, the character that I showed you before, she was wearing 2 wands. So wands are also something that is new in the original, in the Enhanced Edition, sorry. So if she goes into combat mode, she can now do elemental skills that she ordinarily wouldn't be able to do with her wands. So for instance, what she can also do is she can use the wands for casting skills, so that's another cool part of the wands. Okay, let's go to Wolgraf and let's see how that elemental gameplay turns out as you're exploring the world. So he's encountered a chest which is on fire, and so as he's trying to approach the chest, he discovers that the chest is too hot to touch. So Wolgraf is a master craftsman, so he crafted water balloons. It's an example of a grenade. Grenades are also new in the Enhanced Edition, and so he's going to throw a water grenade at the chest. Now, however, as he does that, the chest indeed gets wet, but there's a problem. The chest runs away from him. So you have to realize that Wolgraf is a legendary hero, a master of many campaigns, and he doesn't really like it. On top of that, the chest is actually insulting him. So what he's going to do here is he's going to fast track himself, which is basically a hasting, and so he's going to start running after it. Now, the chest is faster than him, so Wolgraf feels very silly actually, as he's running after this chest and keeps on being insulted, but eventually he manages to corner it, and so he knows there's going to be something in the chest, and as he opens it, what comes out of it is a wind-up toy. So a wind-up toy is a special skill which Wolgraf knows very well because he's been using them himself on enemies. If this little guy is going to explode, that's going to be the end of Wolgraf, so suddenly he needs to get out of here. At the top of the screen, what you see there is my turn order, so this is a turn-based RPG, I'm playing it in rounds. At the bottom of the screen you're seeing the skills that I can do, so that I can activate my command bar by pressing triangle, and then you see my action points. So if I want to move, for instance, this is going to cost me a number of action points. If I go further, it's going to cost me 7 action points, and if I want to use one of these skills, that's also going to cost me action points. Like for instance, this cloak and dagger skill here costs me 6 action points, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it to teleport myself out of danger, and I'm going to put myself here in the middle of the rain, and that's cool because we just learned that rain douses fire. So you see that Wolgraf became wet. So if the little guy is going to go into the rain, we expect that the fuse is going to be doused. So let's see if that's indeed the case. So a lot of people ask us, is this for presentation purposes? But actually this is because it's one of the many examples of an elemental interaction that you have in the game. And victory in combat often is a question of thinking logically, how am I going to use the elements to my advantage? So let's take one of Wolgraff's other homebrewn things, and he's going to throw a firestorm grenade at him. The guy is not that dangerous anymore because his fuse has been doused, and so hopefully he's going to hit him. Yeah, that was almost next to it, because Wolgraff is not very good at throwing, but he managed to do it. So as he progresses here, Wolgraff has a man of above average perception, and perception allows him to see secrets. So he just discovered a secret, which is this grassy pile here, so he can now take a shovel and dig and find out what's in there. Now, unfortunately, he doesn't have a shovel. However, he has a friend who really likes shovels, because she's taken all the shovels. Where is she? Over there. And she has 2 shovels, so this is Scarlet. And so what she can do is she can send it to Wolgraff using a skill called Magic Pockets, so they can send objects over distances to each other. However, that was already in the original game, but in the Enhanced Edition what we added is that Wolgraff just takes it automatically using Magic Pockets. So you get a notification that it's done automatically. And for people who played the original game, they'll be very happy, because it was a little bit cumbersome to have to go back to somebody and then take their items. So we're going to take the loot that's inside here, and then obviously we're going to take the loot that's inside this particular chest. And so what we'll do now is we're going to go to our other friends. Wolgraff has something called a teleporter permit that allows him to quickly jump to wherever the other teleporter permit is. So this particular teleporter permit was with the rest of the party here, and these guys have been having a fight with all of these creatures here. They killed a couple of undead boars, and they left a lot of loot which Wolgraff might be interested in. Like, for instance, he could definitely craft something with his animal hide here. Now at this moment I'm going to ask Thomas, who's on the other side of the screen, to join in. And we're going to show a little bit of local cooperative play here. So Thomas is now controlling my warrior, Roderick there, and I'm controlling the other 3 characters in my party. You see that we both get an extra command bar. I don't know if you ever played Diablo on PlayStation 4 or on console.
Yeah,
absolutely. Did you play it cooperatively?
I haven't played cooperatively.
Okay, so if you play it cooperatively, one of the problems that you may encounter is that when you try to go away from each other, is that you're stuck at the end of the screen. So here we just enter into split screen, and what's more is, if for instance, Thomas, if you could go into the cavern, please. Yeah. So as he enters there, so you can basically go anywhere on the map independently from each other. But what you can also do is you can actually start navigating your inventory, managing your character without bothering the other guy. So we've put a lot of work into it to make sure that manipulation of the environment is possible independently of each other. Obviously, in a lot of cases, you're going to join up with one another. Your purpose obviously be to help each other. Hopefully. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take, I can also assign the characters that are going to be controlled by the other player, because I'm the first player. So what I can say to Thomas is, those type of friends that invite you to come and play with you, and then say you can get the bad toys. I'll think that this is going to be one of these cases. Yeah. So I'm going to give him Wolgraff, and then I'm going to take the warrior for myself. So let me just quickly switch back to Roderick here, or to Bear Daughter. So Thomas is now controlling Wolgraff. We're going to enter the cavern here together, and you see that we constantly switch between split screen and full screen, essentially. Okay, so I'm going to join up my character. So if I hold my right trigger, what happens is that I get this little menu that allows me to manage my party. So if I'm, for instance, going to select these 2 guys, I can group them together, so they're going to be following each other. I'm going to take control of Roderick, because depending on who is going to do the talking, there may be differences, interactions, and I know obviously what's going to come up. We're going to have a little bit of an adventure here, and we're going to encounter a big boss. And these guys who are in this cavern are telling me about that big boss. So they're telling me about an automaton that has escaped. It belongs to a wizard called Arhu. He's a battle mage cat, and so they asked me to help them out. So they're joining up with us. And in the meantime, Thomas decided to start talking to a rat. Unfortunately, he's not very good at talking to animals, so he's getting a very silly reaction. However, we'll see later on that Scarlet is capable of talking to animals, so then we'll have deep, meaningful conversations with rats. All right, Thomas, maybe if you can scout ahead for us. So he's our rogue, so he has the abilities to sneak. And so what he's going to do now is going to become a bush, and he's going to go and scout ahead to see what's going on over there, because we were warned that there's danger. And while he's doing that, I'll tell you a little bit about the changes in encounter design that we've done. We've gone through all the encounters in the game, and we've improved them at every possible place that we could. We also added different gameplay modes. So we added Explorer mode, which is like a less challenging mode, because Original Sin is a very challenging game. But then we also added Tactician mode. And Tactician mode is like, we looked at all the YouTube videos, at all the Twitch sessions. There's over 1 million players that were playing Original Sin, and as we were doing that, we came up with all kinds of tactics that we taught the AI now helps each other. We gave them extra skills. So Tactician mode is like a completely different game almost. It's very fun, but it's also very challenging. And then on top of that, we also put Honor mode in. That gives you one save game. So that is really, really tough.
Wow.
But it's a lot of fun also. So Thomas is going to sneak in, and he's going to try to booby trap the situation. So if you could make yourself invisible, Thomas, because if he, in sneak mode, would get too close to them, they have a cone of vision, they would have seen him. But like this, using his walk in shadow skill, he can just go and hide behind these guys. He can inspect their weaknesses, so he's doing the examine feature there. So we're seeing that there's a 50% weakness to fire. So we're going to take that to our advantage, because we made a cunning plan. And so he's going to just stand there right now, sneaking. He's the bush, the skeletons don't notice him. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to go down with Roderick, who's my other character. And we're going to take the entire party, and we're going to go and pick up an oil barrel, which has been conveniently placed over here. And this oil barrel, what we're going to do is, first of all, I can move every single object that you see in Original Sin. I can even throw them. We've seen players that have buffed up their strength so hard so that they could throw an oil barrel over that distance, but I'm not strong enough for that yet. I am strong enough, however, for picking up the oil barrel and sending it to Thomas, and so using that magic pocket ability that we've seen. So what's going to happen now is it's going to go to Wolgraf, and so he's encumbered. You see the little icon next to his character, so he can't walk anymore because of the weight of it, which is actually something I could be trolling him with. But he can drop it there. So he's now dropping the barrel, and he's going to use his teleporter permits now to come back to me. And so we're going to enter this particularly tough fight, which will probably end with us dying, with a booby trap on our side. So that was our cunning plan. So we're going to approach the fight, and as we approach, we enter turn-based combat. And so we're seeing these guys here, these undead mages. What they do is they send electricity bolts at the big robot, and those electricity bolts will charge it up, and then as it's charged, it can do tremendous damage. So obviously what we would try to do is get rid of those mages first. And so the way that we're going to do that is my first action is going to be to try to charm one of them. So I have a charm arrow here, and of course I don't know if it's going to work, so sometimes it fails. So but I will try it. And that guy is now charmed, and he's on our side, so that's good. Next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to send a fire arrow to the barrel. So what's going to happen is the fire arrow is going to destroy the barrel, the oil is going to leak out, but because there's fire, the oil is going to ignite, it's going to cause smoke to go up. The smoke is going to block their cone of vision, and since they have a weakness to burning, I hope that I'm going to actually kill both of them in one go. So let's try out, see what happens. So that wasn't that bad. So there's one guy that is almost dead, and the other guy I think died. No, he didn't die. But they're going to die over the next turn because the fire damage is going to keep on doing it. So Thomas now is in control of Wolgraf, and he's going to try to sneak up behind the guy. So backstabbing is something that works really well when you have dual wielding daggers. So you see the little cone there that shows you the backstab area. It's also a little innovation that was added in the Enhanced Edition. So he's going to try to get there. Unfortunately, it's going to take him a lot of action points. So what he's going to do is he's going to fast track himself, which allows him to do more meters per action point. And then he's going to actually cast a skill called Adrenaline. He's going to take his action points from the next turn, and he's going to use them in this turn. So next turn he won't have a lot of action points, but now he has plenty of them. And so that leaves him with 4 action points, and that could actually be the killing blow if he manages to do a really good critical hit. Of course, against the robots, I don't think that's going to be that effective, but it was definitely worth a try. So this is my warrior, and he's going to try to use a master skill, which is called Shackles of Pain. So Shackles of Pain basically is going to share the damage. Whenever I'm going to be damaged, the robot will be damaged. So because the robot has a lot of resistances, a lot of armor, this might be one of the way that we can hurt him. I don't know if the Shackles of Pain is going to work on him. And master skills, like Shackles of Pain, are also a new addition to the game. So that wasn't in the original game, but it basically makes the mid to end game much more interesting, because that's when the master skills open up and you get an entire new range of tactical options as you're playing. So let's try it out, see if it works, if I can actually cast, but Shackles of Pain 6, and of course it has to fail on this particular presentation. So I'm going to do something else. I'm going to approach, and then let's see. These guys are going to go to the front line, which is not necessarily in their best interest, but you get extra rewards if you manage to do this fight without killing them, but I don't think that's going to work out in this particular case. So that guy walked out of the fire, and then so that's it's not good, that's for sure. And this guy is recharging him, so that was actually what I was trying to prevent, but well, it didn't go that well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run away from this fight. We're going to, well, we're not going to really run away. We basically, I just jumped to Scarlet, and I'm going to go find the wizard that made this robot, and maybe I can find something that's going to help me destroy it. And what I'll do also is I'm going to give Thomas control here of these two characters, just to demonstrate that I can. So he can actually continue now with his fight in turn-based mode, while I'm actually exploring the rest of the world and going into Sicile to talk to the villagers. So it's worth reflecting on, because it's quite a lot of stuff that for an RPG on a console, this is already fairly advanced actually. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of them. Well, we didn't find any game actually that did similar things. So Original Sin is it's a very deep RPG and with about 120 hours of content. I mean, we thought it was 80 hours. Actually, we thought it was 40. Then turned to be 80, but we see people spend up to 120 hours in playing it, so that's quite a lot. And there's plenty of explorations and things to be done. So, Thomas, if you can disconnect so that we can focus on me for a second. I'm sorry, that didn't come out as I expected. But so just that I can explain, and then I will get him back for the end fight. So we're in the village here of Sicile. We were here for investigating a murder. That investigation has since panned out in plenty of other things. And what I want to demonstrate here is a little bit of the systemics of the RPG gameplay that you can have, and how you can abuse systems to your advantage, because that's really what the game is largely about. So I'm going to, let's first see my character. She has a talent which is called Pet Pal. Pet Pal allows me to talk to animals, so if she's going to talk to a rat, she's going to have a much more meaningful conversation than Thomas had with his rogue. So here we see this cook, he's running after that rooster, and so what I can do is, as I enter, the rooster is going to ask me, like, please save me. I mean, this man is trying to turn me into a meat pie. And so what I can say is, of course, I'll save you. I mean, you have the right to live too, but I'm going to say that the chicken's destiny is to be eaten. And so he's not really very happy about it. And I'm fairly heartless. I actually get the heartless trait for that. Anyway, the cook is not a very nice person. So you see, I can interact with everything that's over here. And there's stuff to be done with pretty much every single item that you see here for you to discover when you play the game. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to take something like this bucket here from the cook. And as we can see, the cook is not a very nice person. I mean, he actually thinks that stealing a bucket is already a reason to call the police, in this case the Revelin guard, and so they are arriving on the spot and they're threatening me with arrest. So I'll allow myself to be arrested to show you some systemics. I showed you systemics with a jailbreak at E3. We'll do something completely different. And this is really, everybody who plays Original Sin, they always find themselves in different situations just because they start bending the rules in all kinds of matters. So let's figure out where we are here. So I have a rat here who thinks that a skeleton is alive. So if I'm going to talk to the skeleton, so we typically find that jails are inhabited by a prison demon, and this particular prison demon is going to offer me a deal, and the deal is going to be that he wants me to give him some of his of my stats, like my strength, my intelligence, my dexterity, constitution, and so forth. So I'm not going to do that, because that would be a really stupid idea. Instead, I'm going to try to figure out. Now, you probably noticed I don't have anything anymore, right? So they took everything from me. So I need to find out a solution that is going to take my powers. Or what I could, of course, also hope for is that my friends were going to help. But my friends are all stuck in a fight, so I shouldn't count on them either. So my friends could come and distract the guard, murder the guard, steal the key from the guard, send it through magic pockets to me, send me teleporter permit, all kinds of things. But we're going to do something different. I'm going to use a master skill, which is Poisonous Slug, and I'm going to summon a Poisonous Slug over here. And so I'm going to put it in there, and I have a cunning plan. At least I think it's a cunning plan. So this is a new skill, which wasn't in the original game. I'm going to use Meteor Shower, which is another master skill, which I can cast over walls. So I'm going to cast it at that guy. That's the skill that's a little bit of an overkill, but in general it kills him. Sometimes he survives. Very rarely. So we enter fight with this guy here. I can't hit him with my Poisonous Slug because there's obviously the wall blocking him. So I'm going to skip my Terminating Slug. But Scarlet has a skill which is called Neither Swap. And so she's going to swap positions with the guard. So the jailer is going to become the jailee. in a form of poetic justice, he's going to now have to deal with my poisonous slug. So I'm just going to stand there and watch what the slug does. Now the slug is quite powerful, so I expect him to kill the guy, and indeed it did. So we've now managed to escape. The jailers are all gone. So if that fire is going to douse, then I can access the chest which is behind it, and I can go pick up all the loot. There's many other ways that I could have, well actually we can. So I'm just going to pick up the key here, which leads me to an area of the game which if I wanted to enter, there was either a quest solution that I could have done, I could have had the guard relieved, I could have snuck in, distracted him, I could have teleported in if I was really good, because they have telekinesis, I can throw stuff very far and so forth, those pyramids. But what we're going to do now is we're going to try to find that wizard that we've been looking for, because he knows the way to the robot, and he happens to live above this place. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to become a barrel, just to make sure that I don't really get seen. And I'm going to tiptoe away. I'm also naked, so I don't want anybody to see me.
Very modest.
And I'm going to pick up all of my loot, which is in this evidence chest, and I'm just going to quickly put on a little bit of clothes at least. And so we're going to go meet that wizard who lives upstairs here. The wizard is a friend of mine. His name is Arhu. He's a battle mage who can turn himself into a cat. There he is. And, oops, let's click there.
That's enough of that now.
Oh yeah, he's angry at me because I didn't sheath my weapon. So sorry about that. Let me sheath my weapon.
Too careful.
It's true, you can't be too careful these days. So if I ask him about one of his failed experiments, he's going to explain to me, oh, you're talking about the Sparkmaster 5000. Haha, the Sparkmaster 5000. Sometimes it's self-aware. And so what I can do, or what he offers to me is he gives me the remote control to the thing. And so if I now go into my inventory, you will see that I've received that remote control. And so I can now control the robot. Of course, I have to be close to the robot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it to our friend Walgraf. And so he, using the magic pockets, can now use the remote control on the robot. He also told me about the manual. So I'm going to look if I can find the manual. It's over here, the Universal Controller Instruction Manual. Always pays to read the manual, especially in this case, because the designers that made this quest are sometimes a little bit devious. And if you read what's in there, what most people do is the obvious combination, which is happy, 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 and that deactivates the controller. So you don't want to do that. So I'm going to send the manual also to Walgraf, and I'm for now going to walk towards Thomas the hard way, and so I'm going to ask him to join us again. All right. And so I'm going to give him control again of all the characters so that he can continue with the turn-based combat. So he's going to get this guy and her. And so with Scarlet is going to walk because it's quite a distance, while Thomas is going to start fighting the robot. So he's now going to try to electrify it. He has the remote control, so if he uses the remote control, he should be able to do things. And one of the things that he's going to try is he's going to try to vent steam. Because if he can get a steam cloud around the robot and then electrify that steam cloud, whatever the robot is going to shoot is going to stun itself. Of course, it's a marvelous plan. Whether or not it's going to work depends on a whole bunch of die rolls, and so we don't know. Ah, but there, look at that. So there's the steam. So if you can now put electricity on that, then that's going to be the end of it, I hope. So let's see what's going to happen. In the meantime, Scarlet is walking towards the waypoint so that she can escape. There we go. And so you see, indeed, he created a static cloud in front of him. So it's just abusing systemic. So I'm going to take a waypoint shrine here to the secluded beach. So I'm now very close to where they're living. Unfortunately, my eyesight is not so good, so I can't see this particular part. I'm going the wrong way. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay. So I'm going to travel now towards Thomas, and then hopefully I'm going to be able to help him because I'm the artillery. I'm the girl with all the master skills, and so my intention would be to help them out with another master skill which I have, which is a tremendous hail attack, because I don't think the fight is actually going that well over there. I actually don't think that Thomas will manage to do that.
Oh, Thomas.
He's
hardly knew you.
So here we are. I'm going to sneak. So I'm actually abusing the system here to my advantage heavily, because what I can do now, since they can't see me, I'm not going to join the combat. If you enter into the radius of combat, you'll join combat. But as I'm invisible, I'm not under that rule yet, and so that gives me one free skill actually to do. So I'm going to do this hail attack here. If I get, I need to get a bit closer. Just have to make sure that I don't. All right, I'm going to cast a hail attack on this guy, and that should be pretty much the end of the combat, because it's a very, very powerful skill. And they're still
hanging on.
Still alive in there. So I have to hope that Thomas is going to help me out. Okay, well, there you go.
There you go, nice.
And then we did that well. And so that's pretty much the end of my my presentation. So it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there is a lot of stuff in that game. I cannot believe the level of detail.
Yeah, and it's all being done with a controller, right? So
yeah,
that's
you must have spent a lot of time adapting the controls to have them really nice on the controller.
When we showed it last to you, we didn't have, for instance, the wheel to control things, and the D-pad was overcharged with things, so now it's a lot simpler to do things. We changed everything, actually, after we were testing it with people, and now it's starting to come really comfortable.
Wow.
It's not finished yet, but almost.
Yeah, there's a release date?
Yeah, we're thinking that it's going to be ready by the end of October. Of course, we're Larian, so sometimes we're a little bit late, but it should be okay.
I'm super excited. I can't wait to play.
All right, great.
Sven, thank you so much for coming by the show. Thank you, Thomas. Stay tuned. More to come from IGN Live from Gamescom after this.